In episode 9 of Path to the Draft, we're going to be looking at tall defender Max Kondogiannis. I hopefully pronounced that name right. So Max is a 190 centimeter tall defender, and we know that we need defenders. Think of him as a bit of a Jeremy Howe replacement, not so much a first line of defense tall, but a third tall intercept marking defender. And like I said, we're in need of someone like this to come up through the ranks at 190 centimeters. He can play on those medium to tall sized forwards. Will take a bit of time to develop, but I think he's really exciting and has a lot of attributes that we need in the Collingwood back six. He played for the Oakleigh Chargers and captained Casey Grammer in school footy, so he's got a bit of a resume, which we love. So at Casey Grammer, he did spend time up forward, but with the Oakleigh Chargers, he was just primarily played as a backman. So he did have a bit of an interrupted start to the 2025 season, but in round 3, have a look at this. He exploded with 21 disposals and a 7-mark game for Oakleigh, and he cemented his spot. He even got the call up to Vic Metro and was pretty much one of their best defenders in their opening game and was very serviceable throughout their period. During the Combine, he ran a 20-meter sprint in just under 3 seconds, 2.943 seconds, and a 2-kilometer time trial in 6.26 minutes, proving he has elite speed for a key defender. Collingwood have been looking for a big running and intercepting key defender, and this guy absolutely fits the bill. Max has a lot of attributes that you can put through to the modern defender. So aerial ability and intercept marking skills, you're going to be hearing that a lot throughout this video. You've already heard a lot about it. He is just so calm in the back line, and when he can use the ball either, short distances, very well, right? Hits a target very well, but he can also boot this ball 50 meters and still hit a target. So he does have maybe not elite, but really, really high kicking skills. He's often in the right place to spoil or take a mark on the way to an opposition goal. On the rebound, he's aggressive and he's quick. He isn't afraid to run the ball out of defense. And we know that with Collingwood, how they play, that's exactly what they're looking for. So his speed and endurance to break the lines on the rebound is something that we can just absolutely tick off. Like I said, he's a prolific user of the ball off halfback. On Rookie Me Central, the draft guide there, they often say that as the last line of distribution, he has good power and a range in his ball use and composure deep inside 50. In short, he can turn defense into attack almost single-handedly. So with all of these draft players, we know that their strengths are incredible, but they do have some weaknesses. The big knock on Max at the moment is, yes, he's 190 centimeters tall, but he's only about 80 kilos. So he does have a lighter frame, will need a lot of muscle, because in one-on-one contests, when he's just out and out, not intercept marking, not running with the fight or anything like that, he does get pushed under the contest a lot. So he will need to add that muscle to stand up to the rigors of AFL and these insane forwards in the AFL system. At times, he can get caught out underneath, especially in one-on-ones. But looking at, Jeremy Howe or Darcy Moore, Billy Frampton as your mentors going forward, I think that would be easily to work out. And building muscle, when you go from a junior competition, or not a junior competition, but the draft channels going through, Metro and Chargers and all this sort of stuff, into an AFL system with, you're doing there 5-6 days a week, you're going to build muscle very, very quickly. And a bit more muscle on this guy, and he could be anything that you want him to be. Like I said, Max Kondogiannis projects as a third tall defender and intercepting player, the kind of player who hovers around the defensive 50 and can match up on those medium talls, or he could swing forward if you need him. At 190 centimeters tall, he is undersized for a tall defender, but the way he goes about marking the ball and, his vertical leap, he can play slightly taller. Just look at Jamie Elliott, right? A small forward, but plays like a tall forward. But where is he projected to go? Now, Zero Hanger have him going at about the mid-second round. Other places have him from, anywhere between 30 to 50. So he does fit in with our later picks. Yes, we know Collingwood are trying to get up the draft, but we do have a bunch of later picks coming on. There's also rookie spots and things like that. I think if you can get this type of player And, he's not going to come in and shift the premiership needle straight away. But a project player, a Jeremy Howe replacement, because I think that's who he plays like the most in our side. Jeremy Howe, yes, he can match up on the tools if he has to, but he's that roaming intercept marking defender, kind of like a Darcy Moore as well. So if you can mold Max into one of those players or somewhat one of those players at a pick 40 to 50, you'd be absolutely laughing. He ticks a lot of Collingwood's boxes. A left footer that has balance and composure coming out of the half-back line as that distributor, but he does have speed and endurance to burn. So, like we've always been saying, that transitional play, that coming out of defense, that quickness that Collingwood play in, Max could fit really well in this side in a few years' time. I don't expect him, if we pick him up to play next year, unless something wild happens in that back line, but like any of these tools are, they are project players. Long term, if he fills out and fine tunes his craft, Kondogiannis could be the sort of reliable third key defender that every team needs, especially the Pies. Collingwood, we can develop him into the next generation defender, get him through the VFL, put a little bit of muscle on, see how he goes with these VFL forwards, and then really reassess him. But it's all about getting him into the gym, building that muscle, and making him learn off the best of the best. So now I push the question on to you. Do you think Max Kondogiannis would be a key defender that we were after, or do you think we're going for more midfielders or forwards? Where do you think our list needs lie, and do you think Max can fit into it? But as always, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, and until next time, double shackers, I'll swoop you later.